video, I'm going to show you how to identify your axis of symmetry, your vertex, your maximum or minimum, based on whether you're given a graph or your function. What do you have to know to be able to find it? So if you're given a graph, your axis of symmetry is going to be where your graph is cut in half. And when you're dealing with a quadratic, in the shape of a parabola. So it's basically where you can cut your parabola in half. This would be your axis of symmetry. And you notice it says x equals. So you want to find where this point is on the x-axis, which would be right here at 1. Now your vertex, you're going to automatically move that number down to here because you're looking for this point, that very point up at the top. So on the x-axis, that's at 1, and then slide your pencil over and figure out where it is on the y, which would be 3. When this vertex is up at the top of your graph, you have a maximum. Now let's try it again with the second graph. Our graph cuts in half here. So where is that point on the x-axis? Remember, this side of 0, you're going to be having negative numbers. So that cuts it in half at 1, 2, -3. Remember to put that number down first into your vertex, and you want to know where this point is. This is your vertex, which would be the very tip of your graph. We know it's -3 on the x, and if you slide your pencil over, it's going to be -4 on the y. And because in this graph, the vertex, you can find it on the very bottom, this would be a minimum. Now, if you're given a function in this form, in vertex form, instead of a graph, you find your axis of symmetry by identifying your h, and you find your vertex by identifying your h and your k. And remember, this is where you find your h, and this is where you find your k. So your axis of symmetry is always x equals, and this is your h value. And in the pink, we have our h value, but we must remember that we have to change the sign. Then you make sure for your vertex, you use your h first, and then your k. And with the k, you keep the sign. Now, because you don't have a graph to look at, you know you can figure out if you have a maximum or minimum by whether this is positive or negative. And when it's positive, you have a minimum. Now let's try it again with the next one. So we have to identify our h here, our h and our k here. And remember, this is your h. You'll find it inside the parentheses, and you'll find your k out here at the end. And then to determine your maximum or minimum, you're looking to see that value in front, whether it's negative or positive. So your axis of symmetry is going to be x equals. You're going to have your h, but you want to change the sign. So from -1 to 1, Then your vertex, which is HK, you can put that number there for your H. And then your K, which is right there in the yellow, will be the -3. And because I have a negative there in blue right in front, I know that I'm going to have a maximum.